Hello and welcome to the Sandbox Daily with me, John Jordan. So in the video today we're going to have a look at some research done by nonfungible.com. So this is from their Twitter account. Nonfungible.com is a website that tracks NFT trading. And this is interesting in the sense this has come out from some research they've done. So they do, every few months they do some portfolio valuation for this, for Metapurse, which is one of the big crypto art kind of vaults, wallets, and they're basically looking at the wallet and trying to work out how much all the NFTs are worth. And one of the things they've done here is what they call a heat map of the Sandbox land secondary market. So secondary market means people selling. So a primary market is people buying from the Sandbox game itself, and then the secondary market is people selling that on to other individuals, and that's really where the interest in NFT trading kind of comes from. The primary sales obviously need to happen for things to be created, but then it's interesting is what's selling. So we can see here in green, green is the cheapest parcels, yellow is medium, and the little red dots are the highest prices. So what's interesting is this is the kind of total land in the Sandbox, 166,000 and a bit. I can't remember the exact number. And this was at the time what had been sold off. So there's an area down here that's been sold off as well, and a little area here that's going for sale. This was the first area. This was the second area. This was the third. This was the fourth, fifth. We're now on to the sixth up here. So we can see here, a rough rule of thumb, how much has actually been resold. So, this area here, this is the first area to be sold. We can see here it's quite patchy. So probably, take a wild guess, probably less than 20%. I would say less than, maybe even only something. You can see these big areas here. I mean, it depends how you measure them, because some of these are big estates rather than little tiny ones. But I would think probably like maybe less, maybe say 15% of this has been resold. So the people who bought in the primary sale, the first sale that ever happened, have not really sold, and they seem to have kept it. There are some kind of red, like everywhere. I mean, there are some kind of red areas here. These red areas tend to be a bit bigger. If we're looking around the red areas, they tend to be that looks to me like 3x3 areas. There's some bigger areas have sold off here, but in general, the people who bought in the first sale have kept their land. So I have a couple of land here actually. The second area here is much bigger, and to me this looks like there's been more reselling here. So people who bought in the second, this was done in a few waves as well. So this is a much bigger area here, but we can see here, to me, this looks like probably getting on for maybe 25-30%. As we move on to this area here, we can see there's some big gaps where these big estates haven't been resold. You're probably not allowed to resell these. Some of these are given away to companies. These big areas, so they're not going to be resold because because they've been given them for free. They can't go away and resell them. That would be very in poor taste. But we can start to see here quite a lot of these lands. So I think this happens because over time the Sandbox gets more popular. We know the land sales are now sell out very quickly in a matter of minutes, and a lot of people aren't buying these to build cool areas in the Sandbox. They're buying these they're speculators buying these for profit, and what we call flipping them. So they're buying them and then immediately put them on sale for like double the value to try and sell them. And obviously, because these land sales are selling out so quickly, people can't get in on the initial sales, the primary sales. So then they're going, I wanted some land, couldn't get it. On the primary sale, I'll go in and buy it. It's a bit more expensive, but I really want some land. So this is where we kind of see, probably here we're getting on for maybe kind of some of these areas, maybe 40% as much. Maybe that's a bit high. But some of these big areas have been, have been sold. So I guess what's also interesting is you have people like the Metapurse. They come in. I don't think they really bother with primary sales. They've got enough money, enough crypto. They come in and they start sucking up these big estates in the secondary market. So that's why you kind of start to see some of these big areas. These would have been bought by very rich individuals who trying to make a profit in the long term. So they're like taking, happy to spend a bit more, happy to spend double over the primary price, because they're going to keep these for years, and they're going to have millions of dollars worth of value. So that's kind of interesting. This up here is a very recent sale, so it's not been that much time to to trade these. So we see pretty low reselling here. Over time, I think that will fill in as much as these ones are here. So there we go. I don't think there's any much more detailed conclusions we can draw from this than what I've said. But it is interesting. I think that it seems to me over time more of the land is being resold. Let's have a quick look at the land as it actually is. So here we see this is the Sandbox area. We can we can flick between them. We can kind of see. So this here is the primary. This is the first land sale, and then the second kind of areas was down here. Well, the kind of second area was here. We've got this new area here, which is down here, which is actually being sold to the Japanese. So what's happened there? Oh, there we go. So this area down here is going to be sold just to the Japanese market. So that's not been sold yet. Then this was the kind of the third and fourth and fifth kind of waves all the way up here. This one in grey is the next one to be sold. So we're starting to fill in the edges now. And this one up here was the one that's just been sold a couple of weeks ago. So that's the one up here. There's not been much resale. But interestingly, quite some of these areas quite red, quite expensive. Some of these areas, maybe people like as you can see, these are the big areas. These are the ones. So some of these are for the Sandbox. Obviously, they're not going to resell those. Some of these are for kind of prime, partners like Atari. Binance has a lot of these. Binance supposedly actually bought a lot of these areas to do things with. So we'll see how that pans out. But interesting. I think there's a lot of activity, financial activity around the Sandbox land, and this kind of shows really probably 30% of the land that's been bought has been sold, and that obviously means people have been buying it to resell it, but it also means they have resold it. So there is interest in people buying up this land, even if they're getting it at a more expensive price. So there is, for the speculators, they're making money, they're doubling their money probably, but there are willing people who want to buy this sort of stuff, even if it's a bit more expensive. So there we go. I think that's good for the Sandbox in the future. You need all sorts of people in an ecosystem. You need the speculators, but also you need the builders as well. You need more builders than speculators, I think, really. But we will wait and see what happens as the game rolls out. Anyway, thanks for watching the video. Please subscribe to the channel, and see you again soon.